Okay, so hey everybody who is live. So today's practice is upper body focused, and my little prelude to that is that I've spoken a little bit about just strength basics in just overall exercise science health, and how there are the main major movements are squatting, hip hinging, so like leaning forward, activating the hamstrings, and then pressing, so pressing forward, pressing overhead, and pulling. So where I have to be real is that yoga is missing most of the things that allow you to pull. So people who are super into body weight strength calisthenics will do a lot of like pull up variations, that kind of thing. So while I've said that we won't use equipment in this challenge, and we can incorporate some pulling with yoga blocks. We're not going to do that today just because there's like one or two other people who are going to watch this and I didn't warn them. So today's going to be a lot of pushing, pressing kind of stuff. So just as a warning, with any movement, if it starts to really fry your wrist, you have two options. I'll name them, but you can always come to forearms. Some people like coming to fists. I don't really love that one, but I'll name them as I say them, or as we get there. Okay, and then tomorrow's going to be core, like on our back and stuff. So no more wrists, because I know we've been kind of practicing a lot this week, relatively. Okay, let's get it moving. So come to sit on your mat. Today is going to be mostly seated and kind of low to the ground. And we'll officially start our 15 minutes here. So we can start in an easy seat. And just for a second, center here, bring your hands to your thighs, close your eyes, and again, give yourself props for being here. Everyone who's live, you got 2 out of 2. And then take a big inhale through the nose and exhale out the mouth. Big inhale through the nose. Exhale out the mouth. One more big inhale through the nose. Exhale out the mouth. Instead of breathe in tension, and then gently open your eyes. So the folks who are live, you'll recognize some of the quick warm-ups. We do need to warm up our wrists and shoulders a little bit. So we can start with a quick wrist stretch. Just take one hand forward, one arm forward, turn the palm up, and then turn the fingertips down towards the floor. And that, again, could be a lot of stretch, depending on how much you flex the fingers towards your body, or if you want to intensify it, you can take the other hand and use it to guide your fingers a little bit more towards you. We often do this in hands and knees, but we can stay off the knees for this one today. And then release that hand, shake it out. Let's take the other one. So take the other hand, turn the palm up, turn the fingertips down, grab the fingertips if you like, or just flex the hand a lot and guide the fingertips back towards the floor, towards your body, wherever you kind of feel that the heat start to build from the stretch. And then let that go, shake out the hands, take the hands forward, make fists, take the knuckles down to the ground. And same thing this time, same principle, just flex the wrists and press the knuckles back towards your face. And if you want, you can add some circles up and down around whatever is feeling right to you. And then raise the hands overhead, all right? So my friends who are live will remember this one. This one is very good for building up small wrist muscles. So hold the hands up and then clap the fingers into the palms and release. So just like that. Very simple, over and over and over again. So it'll make a noise. The shoulders will start to maybe get a little bit fatigued. I know mine are. The next upper body workout will definitely grab blocks and squeeze and do a bunch of that isometric stuff, because I'm honestly still sore from Wednesday from doing that. So if you are not, great. You got a little bit stronger stabilizer upper body muscles than I do. And I have no shame in my game about that. I'm extremely bottom heavy here. Keep clapping the hands. So we're building up muscles right below our wrists. So my DJ who is online, my computer person is online, my teacher who is online, who probably holds a lot of stuff. We got to do this to avoid kind of like carpal tunnel, all that stuff. All right, shake out the arms. Okay, brief dynamic warm up here just for the shoulders, and this is not really a yoga thing. Just reach your hands up forward and then bend the elbows, touch the palms together behind your head, or wherever lands. Bring the arms up overhead, bring them down. We'll do that a few more times. Reach the arms up, biceps around the ears, take the palms together, bring them back behind your head, and then you can kind of do that on your own pace. Keep warming up the triceps, open the chest a little bit. Okay, and then final thing here, just take some big arm circles. So maybe one side and then the other, or both at once if you kind of feel like flapping, and then switch directions. Or you can do one of these. Okay. All right, maybe a few crosses in front of your body, and then come to tabletop, hands and knees. We'll get in it right away. So, from tabletop, hands and knees, tuck your toes, press into the fingertips, and find a hovering tabletop. We're going to hang here for a couple breaths. This is sometimes known as bear in Pilates or in calisthenics. And in a moment, we're going to take the bear for a little crawl to the left and then back in. Okay, so trying to keep this tabletop hovering, take the left hand out, the left foot out, and then crawl the right one in. And then just crawl to the left 2 more times here. So you're fighting to keep the knees floating, and then we'll take it back 3 crawls back to the mat. Okay, maybe in tabletop, the knees again are so low, like I know it sucks. That's where we get the benefit of it. We're gonna crawl out, crawl back 1 more time. So out for 1, out for 2, out for 3, and then back in. 2, 3, hold hovering tabletop for 3, 2, 1, bring the knees down, shake out the arms if you need to. Come down to your forearms. 2 options here, either keep Sphinx arms with the forearms parallel and the palms down, or you can interlace the fingers and make a triangle shape with your hands. If you're doing that, just be conscious of drawing your elbows back in under the shoulders. From here, form plank. You can do this on your knees or on your toes. On your toes will look like this. Okay, so diagonal from the heels to the butt to the shoulders. On your knees will look like this. Now, we'll hold here for 5 breaths. Just press down either into the palms or the edges of the pinkies. And press into the forearms so the upper body starts to round a little bit. So you get a little bit of resistance, not only from our body weight, but from pressing into the floor. Okay, keep the forearms where they are as we add a little oblique work on top of this. So you'll dip your hips to the left while keeping your chest and arms where they are. Come back to center, dip your hips to the right. Come back to center. This is how it looks on the toes. You can stay in this count if you're on your knees. So we start in the center, dip your hips to the left. The feet will rotate to the outside. You're still pressing into your arms. Come back to center, and then dip the hips to the right, rotate onto the outside of the feet if you're on your feet. Okay, 2 more to each side. I'll demo on my knee. So drop the hips to the left, squeeze, bring them into the right. Drop the hips to the right, whether you're on your toes or your knees. I'll demo the toes 1 more time for our last rep. Dip the hips to the left. Come back to center and dip the hips to the right. Roll onto the outside of the feet. Come back to center. Come back to tabletop, hands and knees. Bring your knees as wide as the mat, bring the big toes to touch child's pose for a moment, bring the forehead down. And then bend the elbows, find that prayer hand shape again, take the prayer hands to the base of your head, your skull, walk the elbows forward for a little break here. Bring your hands forward, come back to tabletop, hands and knees, tuck the toes for our first downward facing dog. So bend the knees and the tailbone up and back. You can start with a bent knee down dog or stay in a bent knee down dog. Look back at your feet and then either go ahead and find a still down dog or start to pedal out the feet here. Okay, whether you have bent knees or the heels are towards the ground, come high on your toes, roll forward plank. So we're not going to hang out here, we're measuring our down dog. So if you had to move your hands to keep them under your shoulders, or you had to step your toes back to keep them under your heels, keep them there, hold in this plank for one breath, and then press back downward facing dog. Come high on the toes, let's roll forward like a wave one more time. Big inhale here. Exhale, press the hips up and back. Last one like that, come high on your toes, roll forward, shoulders over wrists. Big inhale here. Big exhale. Press back, downward facing dog. And then take a couple of breaths in this downward facing dog. Press into the left hand quite a lot and see if you can just lift your right hand for a second. Maybe just an inch. And place it down. And then pick up your left hand and place it down. And then try a couple more of those, just lifting the hand and coming back to a down dog on your own. When you come back to the down dog through the center, the chest goes back towards your thighs and you just reset everything. Okay. 2 options for the next progression of this. You can either stay picking up one hand and the other, or you can come with me to try a one-handed downward facing dog. So we'll start with the right hand, press into the left hand, and then reach the right hand up and back towards the hip. If you've got that hang there, you can also try this as a one-armed tabletop if you want to experience this, but with support on the floor. If you're here, hang for a couple of breaths. And then place the right hand down, other side, pick up the left hand, reach it back for a one-armed down dog. Look back at the feet. Get super strong in the right fingers. Again, you can do this in tabletop, or you can just play with picking up one hand, just a couple inches, and then the other. Set the left hand down. Roll forward to plank, come to tabletop, hands and knees. Sit on the heels for a second, shake out the arms. Okay, come back to tabletop, come down to your forearms for forearm side plank. We'll take side plank, I'll offer a bunch of variations. So the first option here, actually bring your right forearm parallel to the top of the mat. And then come onto the outside of the right knee. You may need to shift the knees back so that you have, again, this diagonal from the knees up to the shoulder. Now my hips are coming back here, so that means I need to move my shoulder forward so that my right elbow is right under my right shoulder. Okay, so this is the option of side plank that I like, frankly. It's off the wrist, all the weight is back here, just above our elbow. Now, the ways to progress it, I know we're still holding it. Keep the right hip away from the mat. Ways to progress it. You can extend the top leg out. You can lift the left leg. Okay, if you wanted, you could come up to your hands. You could also progress it by coming onto your forearms, stacking the legs. Okay, just press the ground away with your forearm for another 3 breaths. I know. 2, 1, and then bring the hips down. Bring the knees in for a second, come up to sit, shake everything out. Other side. We'll start on our knees. I'll demo there if you want to progress from there, cool. So again, we take the left forearm this time, make it parallel with the side of the mat, stack the knees, and then bring the hips, the knees, and the shoulder in line, and then the left elbow is right under the left shoulder. And then press into the left forearm to lift the left hip this time. So you'll feel it here in your left oblique, but we're also working the shoulder girdle as well. And then you can reach the right arm up. Okay, other progressions. Take the right foot forward. You can lift the right leg. You could come up onto your wrist if you're really craving that, or you can lengthen the legs, stack the feet. And then hold here for 3, for 2, for 1. Lower the hips down, bend the knees in, give yourself a hug really quick. Okay, one last thing here. Reverse tabletop or reverse plank. It just depends on how your shoulders feel. So bend the knees, plant the feet, face the top of your mat, and bring the hands behind you with the fingertips towards your seat. Press down through the hands and feet. Inhale here. And on your exhale, press the hips up. So this is where we're going to see if our shoulders feel good, okay? If they feel good, you can turn this into a reverse plank. Lengthen the legs and then press the hips up. Either one, press the hips up and breathe. Now, from lengthened legs or from reverse tabletop, bend the elbows straight back, tap the hips down. We're going for 5 of these total, okay? So with the legs extended or the feet bent, press into the hands, press the hips up, bend the elbows straight back. I'll demo here for the next one. Press back up, bend the elbows straight back, press up, bend the elbows straight back. I lost count. I think we have 2 more. Press up, bend the elbows straight back. I'll demo the last one with knees bent. Press up, bend the elbows straight back, hug the knees into the chest. Bring your forehead to your knees, shake out the arms. Come to an easy seat, bring the hands to the thighs. And celebrate your break of movement here. Take a big inhale through the nose. And exhale out the mouth. Open the eyes. Today's code word is Zlatan. I'm sorry if I've used him before, but I was just watching a video of him. So there we go. Tomorrow is core. We'll be off the wrist for core. Okay, it's going to be super Pilates based. So if you're feeling sore through the arms and shoulders, no worries. And I'll stop the recording. And anyone who's live wants to give me feedback, let me know. All right.